This video was produced by The Top Cut. Be sure to check out thetopcut.net, your home for Pokemon TCG, tournament coverage, professional game analysis, and interviews with the best players in the world. Thanks for watching. Hey everybody, this is Puka bringing you the top 16 of the Virginia State Championship. On the right, we have our very own Michael Paramelot, who's playing Zekrom Electric. And on the left, we have Jonathan Scott, who's playing Celebi Mewtwo Tornadus. So, we're really seeing the top two decks in the format. Have a nice showdown here, and we'll see which one comes out on top. Now, Michael does go first, which is, of course, a huge advantage. He'll be the first one to really be able to do, well, whatever he wants. If you go first, there's no restrictions anymore. You get to play an energy, you get to play trainers, supporters. The only thing you can't do anymore is evolve on the first turn. But, yeah, looks like Michael's going to go first with his preferred starter as well, Thundurus. Now, Thundurus, he can use Charge, which for 1 energy searches his deck for lightning energy, and you attach it to Thundurus. We do see Michael making a decision on a dual ball, probably get a Tynamo. Oh, looks like he got 2 heads, so we'll get 2 Tynamos. So, really a great start from Michael. He has 2 Tynamos down, of course. He wants those to get the Electric into play. So you can use Dynamotor to power up his Pokemon, gets lightning energy from the discard pile, and powers up his attackers pretty quickly. So, looks like he's just going to play plus power and a switch. Maybe he's got a Juniper in his hand or something, not sure. Yep, there we go. He's going to play a Juniper, gets rid of a lightning and a double colorless, so looking good so far. Thundurus is, of course, your preferred starter because if you charge on the first turn, you threaten a Disaster Volt for 80 on the second turn of the game. And here we have another dual ball. Let's see how that goes. Looks like he got at least 1 more heads. I don't know if he got 2 or not. Apologize, can't really tell what the numbers on the dice are. It's a little bright in there. And yes, he did get 2 more heads. Wow, so 4 heads in a row to start off. Who needs Pokemon Collector when you can get 4 heads on dual ball? Now, Thundurus attacking on the second turn can do 80 damage with Disaster Volt. Of course, this will put on a lot of pressure on his opponent. It'll knock out anything like a Celebi. And the important thing is it gets lightning energy into the discard pile and fuels Electric's Dynamotor ability, which really makes the whole deck run. So, really a perfect start for Michael. And looks like his opponent not doing so hot. He has to play Professor Oak's new theory right off the bat. Only has a Celebi in play. Of course, he is playing the Celebi Mewtwo Tornadus deck, which uses Celebi Prime's Forest Breath Pokepower to attach an extra grass energy for the turn. Normally, you can only attach 1 energy per turn, but Celebi, if it's in the active position, allows you to attach 1 more energy for your turn. And then you use the Stadium Sky Arrow Bridge, which gives all basic Pokemon 1 less retreat cost. You use that to retreat to one of your Pokemon. And really, you just get a free energy attachment thanks to Celebi, as long as you have the grass in your hand now. We see a complete reverse of luck from Jonathan, who got 0 for 2 on his dual ball. And this is a scary turn because all he's got is Celebi. He does not have another basic Pokemon. He's going to Junk Arm for that dual ball, knowing, okay, I really need to get a Pokemon out. And we'll see, hopefully he gets at least 1 heads here. And it looks like he does. So, we won't see the game end. We almost saw a turn 2 Disaster Volt victory from Michael, but yeah, it looks like Jonathan's going to get a basic and maybe he will stabilize. Now, I noticed he discarded Professor Oak's new theory with his Junk Arm. I hope he has another supporter in his hand, otherwise that was a little questionable. He is grabbing a Mewtwo EX, so he realizes, okay, one of the reasons why the Thundurus is so good against Celebi Mewtwo Tornadus is that Tornadus is weak to lightning, which of course means Thundurus just knocks it on 1 hit, and that is a big problem for the Celebi deck. It really makes it so their only reliable attacker is Mewtwo, and Mewtwo gets countered by Mewtwo, and it looks like, yes, indeed, he did play his hand down to 0, and he's just going to use X-Ball for 80 damage This is a very, very risky move for a lot of reasons. Number one, he left himself with no cards in his hand, so he's really at the mercy of what he draws. Number two, Mewtwo gets knocked out by another Mewtwo, which I know Michael does play. So really he could just be giving up 2 prizes here, and of course Michael has 2 electrics out. So if he were able to get a Mewtwo and then get 3 energy on it, he'd be able to X-Ball Jonathan's Mewtwo and take a quick 2 prize advantage. And really without a hand, unless Jonathan top decks a supporter, he's going to be out of this game really quickly. So really seeing a perfect start from Michael on the right, and an abysmal start from Jonathan on the left. I don't really know how else to put this, but it looks like Michael's just going to be content to attack with Thundurus this turn, not going to get too greedy. Maybe he'll try to get a Pokemon catcher this turn and take a prize, and then just leave it, so all he has to do is knock out the Mewtwo. The other alternative is just to do 80 to the active Mewtwo. Really, it depends on what he draws here. If he draws a catcher, I'm sure he will play it. But it looks like he's only got 1 lightning in the discard pile right now. He's going to use Dynamotor to power up the other Thundurus on the bench. We do see he plays 1 full art Thundurus and 1 normal Thundurus. So, must not have 2 of the same one. So you get to see both arts. Maybe when the promo one comes out, he'll play that one as well. So we'll have all 3 arts. But yeah, it doesn't look like Jonathan top decked a supporter, just a Tornadus. And yeah, he probably realizes, okay, I really would have liked that Oak's New Theory now. Really wasn't worth attacking with the Mewtwo and giving away my hand. It was a tough spot either way, but really getting rid of your only draw supporter so that you could X-Ball for 80, not the best option in the world. And it looks like that was an Electrode in his hand. I couldn't quite catch that. So maybe a strange twist on the deck. I guess we'll find out soon. And looks like we got 2 tails on a dual ball, so Michael's luck's starting to even out a little bit. Now all he needs to knock out this Mewtwo this turn will be a plus power from a Disaster Volt from Thundurus. Either that, or he could get his own Mewtwo. He could get a Zekrom and use Bolt Strike. There are many options for Michael to knock out this Mewtwo EX this turn, but it looks like he doesn't have any of it in his hand right now, so he's going to play Professor Oak's New Theory and hope to draw something. He's got plenty of ways to draw a card that would knock out this Mewtwo EX, or at the very least, he could draw a catcher and knock out either that Celebi or that Tornadus. So really, it would be really difficult for Michael to not take a prize this turn. It would be really surprising if he didn't. But it looks like he's a little flustered. Maybe he didn't draw exactly what he wanted to. He's going to Dynamotor, put 2 onto Thundurus again, and we'll wait to see what he decides to do. I'm sure he wanted a plus power, yep, but he has to settle for the catcher. And he's going to go for Tornadus. I maybe would have gone for Celebi, but really it doesn't make too big of a difference there. And we do see another level ball, so he'll be able to search for any Pokemon with 90 HP or less. And he's going to get a Tyrogue. Maybe just to thin out his deck there. I don't think he really wants to use the Tyrogue here for any reason. We'll probably just see a Disaster Volt and knock out this Tornadus, tying the game up. But really, Michael still has the advantage. That Mewtwo is sitting there. It's going to be knocked out at some point. I'm sure it already has 80 damage on it. It's just too easy to get knocked out. And that's going to be 2 prizes in Michael's favor. And he really won't have to even put a Mewtwo EX of his own into play. So really no risk involved. Of course, Mewtwo EX, when it gets knocked out, it will give up 2 prizes because it is an EX Pokemon. And that's why Michael has the advantage right now. And of course, Jonathan still doesn't have any cards in his hand besides that one, which I think is an Electrode Prime. I couldn't really see it. Sure looks like it though. So interesting addition to the deck to play Electrode Prime as well as Celebi. I don't really see that too often. Maybe that's just to get lucky and really power up your Mewtwo and start X-Balling away. Of course, Mewtwo's X-Ball does 20 damage for each energy attached to both active Pokemon. So that's a pretty big deal, but He hasn't top decked a supporter yet. Looks like it's a switch and an electrode, if I'm seeing that correctly. Hard to tell, but yeah, it's still way in Michael's favor. He's just going to be able to take prizes, and eventually he's going to knock out that Mewtwo. He's just going to get far ahead. But it looks like he really doesn't have much in his hand either. He's just going to use Disaster Volt, get a knockout. He opts not to use Dino Order because he doesn't want to power up anything to help Mewtwo's X-Ball in case Jonathan were to have a catcher. And looks like Jonathan still doesn't have anything. And he actually scoops up his cards. I don't know why. The game wasn't quite over yet. But yeah, it looks like he's probably going to lose that game no matter what. So that was the first game. We saw Michael take a pretty lopsided first game. Really nothing Jonathan could do. He discarded his supporter with Junk Arm, and he never drew another one. So that was that. That's how quickly a game can end when you really don't have anything in your hand. So that was game 1. Stay tuned for game 2, and we'll see who wins this top 16 match from the Virginia State Championship. We'll be right back.